This class is about animal body organization. These are the different animals present in the different phyla from protozoa to this is the evolutionary tree from protozoa, porifera, nidaria, platyhelminthes, nematohelminthes, like that 11 phyla or the 10 phyla of the non-chordata, hemichordata, and the last phylum is called the chordata. We discuss. Next, how do the coelom is forming? What do you mean by coelom? Coelom is, for example, in my body you can see what are the internal organs present in my body: heart, lungs, liver, kidney, like that many organs are present in my body. Those are internal organs. But except those organs, is there any space in my body? Yes, the space is present. The space is called the cavity. That cavity is called the coelom. What is in the coelom? Inside the coelomic fluid is present. The color of the coelomic fluid is pale yellow color. That is just like a serum color. So, what is the advantage of coelom and coelomic fluid? Means coelom is providing a particular shape to my body. If there is no coelom in my body, what happens? My body would become like just like a flatworm or leaf-like structure or paper-like body. If there is no coelom in my body, and also this is providing space. The coelom is providing space to arrange the internal organs and their function also. This coelomic fluid present in my coelom is providing a space, and also it is giving some support to the internal organs, that is acting as a hydrostatic shelter. So the coelom is very important in our body. Then in this discussion we also discuss about the how do coelom is formed in the animal kingdom. All the animals we will discuss. Discuss about the coelom formation or coelom development in animal kingdom. So what is coelom? I discussed that coelom is a body cavity present inside the body which is filled with the coelomic fluid and providing space for the internal organs and acting as hydrostatic shelter. This coelom is discussed in the sexually reproducing animals. In the sexually reproducing animals, sperm cell fused with egg cell forms the zygote. The zygote undergo the mitotic divisions or cleavages and forms 2 cells and 4 cells, 8 cells, like that 16 cells, 32 cells, like that. At this stage, this is called morula. This morula is containing many cells inside body. These all cells are totipotent cells, same type of cells. This is very important point. In the morula, all the cells are same type of cells. There is no cell differentiation in it. All the cells are only one type of cells are present in this morula. Not only in this morula, at this 4 cell stage, this 16 cell stage, or at 1 cell stage, this is zygote. The zygote is also totipotent cell. What do you mean by totipotent cell? Means that can give any type of cell. For example, this zygote is that zygote can give total organism. Any type of tissue, any type of cells in that organism are formed by this zygote. Not only in this zygote, 4 cell, 8 cell, 16 cell and 32 cell stage, the morula is also containing the same type of cells. Those cells are also called as a totipotent cell. Okay. This morula undergoes the blastulation. At this time, some of the cells are pushed some side. Some of the cells are pushed some side, and these cells are formed the innermost cells. These cells are called the blastomeres. This stage is called the blastula. This process is called the blastulation. This blastulation, these are called the blastomeres. Blastomeres are cells present in the blastula. This is called the coelom, a cavity. During the embryonic development, first time in the body, a coelom is formed. That is called the blastocele. First time in the during the embryonic development in the animal kingdom, first time a coelom is formed. The coelom is blastocele or blastocoelom. called the blastocele. Okay, that is called as the primary coelom. In our body, for example, during embryonic development, at the time of blastulation, a coelom is formed that is called the blastocele. In our embryonic development, the blastocele is called the primary body cavity. Why is it calling as the primary body cavity? What is primary body cavity means? The cavity formed first time during the embryonic development. First time, that is called. That's why it is called as the primary coelom. But the coelom present in our body is not this primary coelom. That is the secondary coelom present in our body that can form late in the later embryonic development. That is our main discussion, coelom formation. This is called the blast. These are the innermost cells are the blastomere. This is called the blastocele. This stage is called the blastulation. Okay. After this blastulation, the gastrulation is take place. What do you mean by gastrulation? How do the gastrulation take place in the animal kingdom? Then what happen? For example, just imagine this is just like a rubber ball. If a rubber ball pushed to one side, then what happen? You can see some hole-like structure is formed if you push it. In that manner, a hole-like structure is formed like this. These are the cells at the beginning stage. Innermost cells are blastocele. Okay. However, this is the blastocele present in them. During this process is called the gastrulation. At this gastrulation, what happened? A hole-like structure is formed. This hole-like structure is called blastopore. This has a lot of importance in our discussion because the blastopore fate or future development is either mouth or anus, protostomes or deuterostomes we will discuss in later. But during this gastrulation process, a hole is formed in the blastula. This process is called the gastrulation. This hole is forming. Okay. What is the future of what is the future embryonic development in this is? This is gastrulation is going on, and like this gastrulation is going on at this moment. Only one type of cells are present in it, but some cells are differentiated from these cells, and they are separated and growing into the primary coelom. This is primary coelom. Some cells, actually at this stage only one type of cells are there. Up to here only one type of cells are there. But now some cells are differentiating from this one type of cells. These are only one type of cells. From these cells only one type of cells. Some cells are differentiating and growing into the coelom. Those cells are called mesodermal cells. Mesodermal cells. These are called mesodermal cells. Then what happened later? This is ectodermal cells. Later what happened? These cells, okay. These are mesodermal cells growing into the primary coelom further. And later what happened? These two membranes are attached, are fused and formed attached, and these two layers are attached. Then what happened? This is formed as another layer. Differentiate. Some cells are differentiated and formed as the endodermal cells. This is called endodermal cells. These are ectodermal cells. And these are already mesodermal cells. Actually, one type of cells are present in it. Those one type of cells are actually totipotent cell, because every cell has capacity to divide any type of cell at this up to here only. But later what happened? The ectodermal cells are differentiating, endodermal cells are differentiating, and mesodermal cells. Three types of cells are differentiating. So these are called the but at this stage this is called as not the totipotent cell. This is these cells present in this embryo is called the multipotent stem cells only, because the mesoderm cells can give only few organs or tissues, ectodermal cells can give only few type of organs, and endodermal cells can form the digestive system and respiratory tract, only few organs or few tissues in the body. So here the cells are differentiating and forming different types of cells. From one type of cell, different types of cells are forming. Okay, then come to our discussion. How do the coelom is forming in the body? Then mesodermal cells are forming. These mesodermal cells complete their growth. Later stages, what happen? This is ectoderm, this is endoderm, and the mesodermal cells grow, complete their growth, and finally form like this. What is happening in the mesoderm is, mesoderm normally like this only, just it is splitting like this. Mesoderm is splitting like this. That's why it is showing like this. Here, what is the major thing happening in the mesoderm is, the mesoderm is splitting slightly. If the mesoderm is split, what happen? Now, this is ectoderm and this is ectoderm and this is endoderm, and the mesoderm is continuing its splitting like this, continuing its splitting, completely it is splitting. If it is splitting completely, what happen? Later, this splitting is continued, and finally what happens? These two layers are merged, and these two layers are merged. As a result of this, what happen? Ectoderm and endoderm. Sorry, this is endoderm, and the mesodermal split mesodermal layers. One can goes and attach to the outer layer, and one can goes and attach to the inner layer. Means this is called the peritoneal mesoderm. This is called splanchnic mesodermal layer. What is happening here? The mesoderm is splitting. One layer is going and attaching to the beneath of the ectoderm, and one layer is going and attaching to the outer layer of the endoderm. In between these parietal layer and splanchnic layer, the space remains. This space is actually coelom. This is actually coelom. This is the coelom present in our body. Now, the coelom, first one is the primary body cavity or the blastocele, but that is not in our body now. The coelom in our body is actually formed from the splitting of mesoderm. So, how do the actual coelom, how do the true coelom is formed in animal kingdom is, the true coelom is formed from the splitting of mesoderm only. If it is formed from the splitting of mesoderm, that is called as the true coelom. If it is not formed from the coelom, that is not true coelom. We will discuss about them clearly. This type of coelom is present in Annelida. So, in the later development, how many layers are there here? Ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. 3 layers are present at this stage. That's why these are called the triploblastic animal. What are the triploblastic animals in this phylogenetic tree? Are Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Onychophora, Mollusca, Arthropoda. Platyhelminthes onwards up to the chordates, all are triploblastic animals. What do you mean by triploblastic animal? What are triploblastic animals? Means during the embryonic development, the mesoderm is splitting and forming 2 layers, and the ectoderm is forming and endoderm is forming. Ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm are forming during the embryonic development. They are forming the 3 germ layers. That's why these are called a triploblastic animal. Okay, from the platyhelminthes onwards up to the chordata, all are triploblastic animal, including we are also belongs to these triploblastic animals. Then what about the remaining animals? For example, this is called the nidaria. Nidaria, in this nidaria, the mesoderm is not formed. If the mesoderm is not formed, what happens? Only two germ layers are formed in them. Those are called the diploblastic animals. Diploblastic animals. Two layers are formed. Then what happens? Porifera, protozoa, there are no embryonic germ layers. That's why I need not to discuss about the protozoa and porifera. Diploblastic animals are only nidarians. Remaining all the organisms are triploblastic or triploblastic animals. The three germ layers are formed. What is the fate or what is the future of three germ layers? And what is the future of two germ layers? The two germ layers are formed in these nidarians. For example, here you see this is ectoderm, this is the sea anemone, adult organism. This is formed, outer layer is formed from the ectoderm and the inner layer is formed as endoderm. What is this inner layer is mesoglia, or also called as the coelenteron. Mesoglia or coelenteron. This phylum is also called as the coelenterata. That's why they are having some coelenteron or mesoglia. Sorry, this is mesoglia. This is mesoglia. The mesoglia or coelenteron. In between the endoderm and ectoderm, the mesoglia or coelenteron is present. That's why these are called the coelenterata. Okay. Now the endoderm is forming just like a digestive system, which can digest the food materials, the endoderm. Next one here, the coelom is forming. However, these are three germ layers are forming in platyhelminthes onwards. From the if three germ layers are formed, how do the complete organism is developed? Those are called organogenesis. After forming the three germ layers, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm, what should be developed next? In the next, all the organs have to be developed, because we have to get the final organism like this. In this, there are no hands, no brain, no nervous system, no muscular system, no heart, nothing is there in it. But from these cells, heart, every organ should be formed from these three germ layers. The formation of body organs from these three germ layers are called the organogenesis, organs development. What are the organs developed from these three germ layers? From the ectoderm, the external body, skin, nervous system, central nervous system, spinal cord, hair, horns, and these are developed from this ectoderm. What are the organs formed from this endoderm? Endoderm is located in the middle, digestive system and accessory glands, liver, pancreas, those are formed, and respiratory system also formed from this endoderm. Respiratory system and the digestive system are formed from the endoderm. Okay, however, external ectoderm is forming the external structure, endoderm is forming the digestive tract and respiratory tract. But then what are the organs formed from these two layers of mesoderm? Remaining all organs are located in the middle, in between this endoderm and the ectoderm. Remaining all organs are formed from this mesoderm. Muscles are formed, connective tissues, blood vessels, heart, kidneys, reproductive organs, all are developed from these mesoderms. Then what happens finally? A plant body or animal body is developed after the completion of organogenesis. So what is happening here is, from this ectoderm, some of the cells are differentiating and forming the external organs. From this endoderm, some of the cells are differentiating and forming as the digestive tract cells. Digestive tract cells are tissues, and some of the cells are differentiating as the respiratory organs, forming cells are tissues. And some of the cells are differentiating from the mesoderm and forming the areolar tissue or connective tissue. Some cells are differentiating as the blood vessel tissue. Some cells are differentiating as the kidney forming tissue. Some cells are differentiating as the heart forming cells. And different organs are developed. Finally, one organism is developed from these three germ layers. In the diploblastic animals, the ectoderm is forming the external body structure, the endodermal cells are forming digestive tract. Like that, the body is simple anatomical structure. So here the three germ layers are forming. These three germ layers called the triploblastic animals, platyhelminthes onwards. So this is called the true coelom. Now this true coelom is present in Annelida, arthropoda, Annelida, Onychophora, arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata. So Annelida onwards, all the animals are true coelomates. Annelida onwards, all. Annelida onwards, all the animals are true coelomates. Next, what we have to discuss about the echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata separately at this moment. What is that means? Here these are called Annelida, Onychophora, arthropoda, mollusca. These are called the Schizocoelom. Schizocoelomates. That is called the Schizocoelom. What do you mean by Schizocoelom? Schizocoelom is nothing but the coelom is formed from the splitting of mesoderm. Those are called the Schizocoelom. Schizo means splitting. Schizocoelom means the coelom is formed from the splitting of mesoderm. Okay, this mesoderm is splitting and forming. These are the animals: Annelida, Onychophora, mollusca and arthropoda belongs to the Schizocoelom. But echinodermata, hemichordata or chordata are also true coelomates, but the coelom formation is somehow different. That is, okay, here the step I am starting from here. In hemichordata, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordates, then what is happening here is ectoderm is forming, gastrulation is same process, mesoderm is also growing like this. This mesoderm is growing and this is ectoderm, this is endoderm. While the mesoderm is growing, I will start from here. While the mesoderm is growing, this growing mesoderm goes and attaches to the endoderm like this. This mesoderm goes and attaches to the endoderm first like this. But whereas in these animals, the mesoderm is separately growing in the primary coelom. After that, they are splitting and forming the coelom. But here in the hemichordata, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordates, these are called the enterocoelomates. These enterocoelomates, in these enterocoelomates, the mesoderm is forming, and the mesodermal cells attach to the enteron. These mesodermal cells are attached to the enterons. Then what happens? Next stage, this is endoderm, this is ectoderm, this is endoderm. So here what is happening? Some cells from the endoderm are differentiating and forming the mesodermal cells here. But whereas in this case, the mesodermal cells are differentiating from the ectodermal cells. Here you see. But in this case, enterocoelomates, the mesodermal cells are forming and differentiating from the endodermal cells. That is the difference. That's why these are called as enterocoelomates. What do you mean by enterocoelomates? Means what is the fate of this? This is going to form the digestive tract, isn't it? That is the same. It is going to form the digestive tract. Digestive tract is also called as a gut, alimentary canal or enteron. Digestive system or digestive pipe or digestive system is called the enteron or gut or alimentary canal. Enteron is the word used for the digestive system. These mesoderm is forming from the digestive system cells, enteron cells. That's why it is called as the enterocoelomates. How they are forming, we will see. Next, what happens in the next embryonic development? these cells are separating and formed like this, extending like this, bulging out like this. Later, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesodermal cells split like this, extend and split like this. However, the splitting is same, like this. The splitting is same, but the difference between schizocoelomate and enterocoelomate is here the mesoderm is directly splitting, but whereas in this case enterocoelomates, that mesoderm is forming from the enteron or endoderm and later it is splitting. But however, in the schizocoelomates, Annelida, Arthropoda, mollusca and Onychophora, the true coelom is forming from the splitting of mesoderm, and Echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata also, the mesoderm is forming from the splitting of mesoderm. But the splitting is different. However, the coelom is forming from the splitting of mesoderm. Then what happens? The splitting is same. Ectoderm, endoderm, and the peritoneal layer of mesoderm and the splagmic layer of mesoderm. Next, the organogenesis is followed. After the organogenesis, different cells are differentiated from the ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. All the body organs are formed. Okay. But the difference between schizocoelomates and enterocoelomates is the splitting format, the splitting fashion is different. Annelida, Onychophora, Arthropoda, mollusca, these are schizocoelomates. Echinodermata, hemichordata, chordata are enterocoelomates. These are enterocoelomates. Now, what about these animals? For example, platyhelminthes. In platyhelminthes, how do the coelom is forming? I am coming from here once again. Platyhelminthes. The coelom formation is different. For example, tinea, solium, or planaria, fasciola, hepatica are some of the platyhelminthic flatworms. These are flatworms. Their body is flat, leaf-like structure, paper-like body. If the body is paper-like, our body has a particular shape. If there is no shape to our body, if my body would become just like a leaf, there is no heart, no internal organs present in my body. My body, for example, if you keep my body in the sugarcane producing machine, what happens? You will get that leaf-like body. The coelom is completely disappeared. Then the body of the coelomates or body of the platyhelminthes look like that. The body do not have any coelom. Then how do the embryonic development is taking place in these organisms? Okay, however, ectoderm is forming after the gastrulation. Ectoderm is forming and the endoderm is forming. At this stage, the mesodermal cells growing and growing. Continuously they grow and occupy the complete space of primary coelom, this blastocoel. Completely occupying. The mesodermal cells are not splitting the mesodermal cells are not splitting. Instead of not splitting, they are forming completely, they are occupying the primary coelom. If they occupy the primary coelom, there is no space. They occupy the coelom completely. There is no space. They do not leave any cavity. They do not leave any coelom. So, the body is looking like this. Do these platyhelminthes have any coelom in their body? no coelom in their body. Why there is no coelom is forming in these organisms? Because the mesodermal cells are completely occupying the blastocoel or the primary coelom. If the cells occupied the space completely, there is no space. There is no space means there is no coelom in the body. If there is no coelom in the body, then what would happen? The body would become like a leaf-like structure or a ribbon-like structure. These are called acoelomates. Acoelomates or acoelomata. A means no. Coelomata means no coelomata. A means no coelomata. So that's why the body look like ribbon-like structure or a leaf-like structure. Then these are the platyhelminthes. What about the nematodes and nematohelminthes? Nematohelminthes, again I am coming from here during the embryonic development in the nematoda, nematohelminthes, ectoderm is forming. Okay, the endoderm is also forming, right? And the mesoderm is also forming, but the mesoderm is not occupying the total space. Then what is happening? That mesoderm is not splitting and going and attached to the beneath of the ectoderm like this. Here what you have to observe is ectoderm is present, endoderm is present, and the mesoderm is also growing in the same manner. This mesoderm formation is same in all the organisms, but in this acoelomata, that mesoderm is occupying the total space, but in this mesoderm is not splitting. True coelom means it should formed from the splitting of mesoderm. Here the mesoderm is not splitting, but coelom is forming. This is coelom, but this coelom is formed by not splitting of mesoderm. Then is it true coelom? Not true coelom. It is false coelom. Not true coelom. It is false coelom. This false coelom is also called as a pseudocoelom. That's why these are called pseudocoelomates. Now we got complete information about the animal kingdom, the coelom formation. Then within 1 minute, 1 second we will see these all the animals are sexually reproducing animals. We are starting this from, in the nidarians are diploblastic animals, only ectoderm and endoderm are forming. Organs are developed from these two, ectoderm and endoderm. But platyhelminthes onwards, all the animals are triploblastic animals. 3 germ layers are forming, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. But how do the coelom is forming is different in these animals. In the platyhelminthes, the mesoderm is forming, however, during the embryonic development, that is occupying the total space. That is not leaving any space or body cavity or coelom. That's why they are calling as acoelomates, no coelomates. Whereas in these nematodes, the coelom is forming, but that is not coelom, that is false coelom or pseudocoelom, because the coelom formed in these organisms is not formed from the splitting of mesoderm. That's why it is called as the false coelom. This is actually primary coelom only. This is also called as primary coelom. This primary coelom. But whereas in these schizocoelomates and the enterocoelomates, this coelom is not primary coelom, because that is forming from the splitting of mesoderm. That is also called as a secondary coelom. This is secondary coelom, but in these cases, that is the primary coelom only. But the primary coelom is in acoelomata occupied by the mesodermal cells, whereas in this nematoda, that false coelom or pseudocoelom is forming. But one point remember in these two cases are, in this case and in this case, the primary coelom is present. But whereas in the Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata and Hemichordata and Chordata, we do not have our primary coelom now in our body. The coelom present in our body is secondary coelom. Why is it calling as the secondary coelom? Means primary coelom is removing and the secondary coelom is replacing by splitting of mesoderm. Okay. So now we got this Schizocoelomata, Annelida onychophora arthropoda mollusca due to the splitting of mesoderm, directly splitting of mesoderm. But whereas in this echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata, the mesoderm is splitting, however, but the mesodermal cells are forming from the enteron or digestive tract or endoderm. That's why those are called the enterocoelomates. These are acoelomates, those are pseudocoelomates. Remaining in this case is Porifera and Protozoa. There is no need to discuss about the coelom formation because the embryonic development is not like these animals. These are about the coelom formation. Once again, the advantages of the coelom is in our body the coelom is providing space to arrange the internal organs, and it is providing it is filling with the coelomic fluid. The coelomic fluid is giving some support to the internal organs. For example, heart is continuously beating. It is not hanging. That is freely floating in the coelomic fluid. However, it is attaching with the connective tissue, but it is giving some support to the heart. The coelomic fluid is giving some support to the internal organs, and also it is protecting from the friction. The internal organs are also protecting from the friction due to this coelomic fluid, and it is acting as a hydrostatic skeleton. So the higher order animals are becoming successful animals living on this earth. This is about coelom formation.